What's up, guys? We're going to be going into a game on the Barracks as Wraith, and this is a little bit of a special game because initially I had played this without doing any. I just recorded the game. I didn't voice over it. I was just kind of playing for fun, and I record all of my games specifically for this reason. Is when I get a really good game, I'm able to do some voiceover and go ahead and share it with you guys. So this game in particular, I think, is probably the best game of Evolve I've ever played. And it's not really because I won or lost, it's more because it started off as a normal game and it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier all the way until the end. So you'll see what I mean as we go through it. I'll just kind of share my thoughts of what I was like, the thoughts that I was having in game at the time, because I played this game earlier today, so I should remember of everything that was going through my head. I actually had to take a break after this game, and I just like put Evolve down and I was like, okay, I need to relax because I was super stressed after this game. So this team, Vale, Hank, Griffin, Markov, it's the best team that you can get for a Griffin player. Maybe Kyra's a little bit better, but it's defensive enough so that the monster can't just focus Griffin down to get out of a dome, and having Markov is a little bit of extra defense. On my side, my priority target is Hank, but I can go through the shield to get to Vale. Because her self-heal isn't as good as Kyra's is. I don't think it might be good now. I think they reduced the cooldown on her heal burst again or something. But I still think Kyra's a little bit better because of the speed and everything. So, but generally the priority target will be Hank in this circumstance. So unless the medics, I mean, if anyone's doing something that I can catch them out for, then I'll go for that. But for the most part, I go for my priority targets. Alright, so this is my basic start for Barracks all the time. I missed that, but rank 1 Warp Blast is actually pretty easy to miss things on. This was actually kind of annoying, I remember this part. I wanted to just kill that one Reaver and not have this one aggro, and now I'm kind of wasting a bunch of time for only 2 meat. I should already be in the cave getting like a mammoth bird or something. So I decided to sneak instead of going up through the like little area here, and this is mainly because of Griffin. Griffin has a hard time with sneak monsters right from the start. I didn't sneak right from the start, but I led them into the cave, and then I made them think that I went up through that little pass that they added, which most monsters do now because it's the best thing to do. You can actually get a lot of space by doing that, and that's normally what I do, but I decided to do something a little bit different here. I don't actually remember if I get caught off of this. I know I make it a decent length before I get caught. Like, I'm already full armor, so even if I get domed right here, I know I'll be okay. But yeah, I'm just trying to skirt around the edge and make it so they can't see me. I see Griffin go up on this, and I think I get a cue. Yeah, that he's setting down a spike trap right there, and then he leaves. So I know that I can continue in a second. I just want to make sure that they're not watching this area. And it looks like they're probably headed up towards that pass where I kind of made it look like I was going. I'm trying to be really careful here not to fall into the like goopy water stuff because it makes you walk, and I'm not sure if that spike trap's within range to catch me if I stand up, so I don't really want to get caught from that. That actually might have done it, that little blip right there where I went into the water, but I ended up getting birds. I remember this now. I was super frustrated that I just wanted to like eat that 2 meat creature and get a little bit more towards my evolve meter, and I got birds. So that was some bad RNG on my part. So I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get caught now because I kind of gave away my position, and I can see them there. I think did I actually try to eat that? Yeah, I think that's a bit of a mistake. I noticed it after halfway of eating that, but I'm pretty sure they could have gotten me or will get me. Because of that. Maybe if I left right after I ate the first creature, or even not even worried about those and just left as soon as I saw the birds and just tried to get out, I might have been able to get out without taking a dome here. It's good to rewatch some of these games as well and kind of get a feel for what you did wrong so you can improve a little bit easier. So I'm not necessarily going for down penalties here. I'm mostly going to try to like just interrupt as many hunters as I can with those attacks and make them waste their jetpack on trying to dodge my attacks and stuff. But mostly I'm trying to mitigate damage and get out of this dome without taking too much permanent health damage. So I go to try to eat something here, but they keep knocking me off of it, kind of annoying. I find another Reaver over here though that I'm able to eat. So I'm going to take a little bit less than 1 bar of health through this dome most likely. And yeah, there goes the dome. I get a little bit more armor so that I don't take a ton of chip damage. And I'm able to continue up towards the top side. So that's not that bad, but I am going to have to take, I'll probably have to take another dome before I'm able to evolve. Which normally I like to take only 1 dome at stage 1. So I do take quite a bit of damage here, and I even take some health damage from this, but there's a lot of meat here that I can eat. Probably too much health damage. It's probably not worth it. Considering I don't even need it all to get evolve ready. Definitely a mistake. I really didn't want to kill that Dune Beetle. It's usually a mistake to kill Dune Beetles. I saw Griffin committing to that side, and I thought he hit his harpoon there, but I think it was a little bit too long. Like, I heard it hit me, but it was a little bit too long, so it auto-broke. So I was able to juke Griffin there. I'm not sure if he had his dome ready or not, but I do notice that they have the Megamouth buff. I actually noticed this Megamouth buff when I first started. When I was, like, coming off of this ledge, I looked at it and saw that it was a buff. So when I saw it dead, I knew it was a buff. I might as well grab it, even though still pounce damage isn't the biggest thing ever. Now, I'm not sure. Do they? I think they get a dome a little bit farther into this cave. But as of right now, I mean, this is a completely normal game. I feel like we're about even. I might be slightly behind, only because I took a little bit of extra health damage that I didn't really want to take at stage 1. And now I'm kind of forced into taking another dome before I'm going to be able to evolve. So they finally throw down this dome. Again, I want to mitigate damage. That's my main goal. If someone's doing something stupid and they get hit by like a sloth or a tyrant or, you know, Dune Beetle, whatever, and get down to like half health, I'll go for a down penalty at that point. But generally at stage 1, it's still kind of difficult. It is easier, and actually this is something that I would classify as something stupid, with Hank overextending into a cave all by himself. He goes cloak, but Vale's healing him. I know exactly where he is. So I lost him a little bit there, so I end up going towards Val instead. This will also force Hank out because he'll have to shield her. So there's the shield. And now I want to take a look at both of them, see which one's lower. I noticed that Hank is pretty low. Decide to go on him. But as you can see, I can get punished for this pretty hard if I don't get this down penalty. I'm taking health damage right now. But I do get the down penalty on Hank. And that, again, is because he went up into this cave all by himself. Definitely not something you should do when you're specifically the priority target. The only person that should be doing that is Markov. And if you have like Maggie or something, she can possibly do it as long as she places harpoons behind her so that she has a retreat path. But Griffin wouldn't really be able to do it all that easily. Really needs to be your assault that does the flushing and pushing of the monster. So I actually took a lot of health damage for that though. I took another bar and a half, a little bit more I think, because I had a little bit left on my first bar. So almost 2 bars of health damage for that dome and that down penalty. As long as I get an evolve out of this, I'm not in the worst spot, but I think I am slightly behind, even though I do have the down penalty on one of my priority targets. So I'm going to go ahead and take all into Warp Blast, and I'm going to take the 1 into Decoy, specifically because I've taken a lot of health damage. Sometimes I do 1 more into Supernova, sometimes I do 1 more into Decoy, sometimes I do 1 more into Abduction. It really depends on the game and the situation. And they actually get a really good dome here. And this is where I'm like, you know, oh crap, I'm going to lose this game. Like, this is a game-winning move for them. So, like, I have to use my decoy to try to mitigate damage. I have to try to hide in bushes and stuff like that and just, like, skirt around the edge of this just to make it annoying for them to deal with. And I think, yeah, they don't actually land that orbital, but I was super scared when I heard that go down that they knew where I was. It's actually a pretty smart thing as a Hank, if you don't know where a Wraith is and they're hiding like that in a bush, to throw down an orbital strike, because as soon as the monster hears that, they think that you know where they are, and Yeah, I'm taking tons of damage. I think I even take like a zap from a mammoth bird or two during this. And I know that I have to like do something to interrupt them a little bit. So abduction, it's a pretty good way of mitigating some damage if you don't have like, you know, decoy on cooldown. And so I end up getting out of this with, it's probably about the best that I could do without taking much damage. Like if I had a full bar armor, I'd probably still have half armor. With the little bit of health damage I actually took. I think it was like maybe a bar and a half for an entire dome when I had like 1 bar of armor to going into it, so I think that was pretty good, but obviously I don't want to get domed and take that much health damage at stage 2. I only have 1 strike, I only have 2.5 bars of health left. I'm not in a good spot here. There's a ton of pressure on me to like get armor quickly. And right now I'm trying to figure out anything, like, I'm trying to think of what I can possibly do to win this game right now. And I am not really coming up with much. Mainly I just have to get armor and try to take a good fight at stage 2. There have been games where I've won outright at stage 2 without taking any health damage. I even get zapped by this mammoth bird, I remember. And I remember thinking that like that normally doesn't happen. The server has to lag a little bit for the mammoth bird to recognize you're attacking it before you actually grab it. A lot of the time it gets like stunned in that animation, in the abduction animation, before it recognizes you're attacking it, and it won't be able to zap you. It's kind of like a 50-50 that I've noticed, where you abduct a mammoth bird and it doesn't zap you, but I'm full armor. I'd love to be evolve ready before I take another dome, but that's probably not going to happen because their Griffin's playing pretty well. Their whole team's playing decently well, but Griffin specifically has hit me with a couple of harpoons that were clutch, which is pretty hard to do against the small hitbox of Wraith, and he's landing a lot of domes, which is good. And you notice they're cutting me off again. I'm trying to figure out where Griffin is here, and I think I decide to just engage on the Hank that's kind of by himself again. But I missed my warp blast, which is pretty bad. He goes invisible. I try to figure out where he is. I don't remember if I'm able to... Yeah, the Veil helped me a little bit there, but I took a bunch of damage from that Nomad as well, which is kind of annoying. Now I noticed that Val got kind of line of sighted from everybody else, so I wanted to go on her for a little bit. Launch my decoy, and again, I'm kind of in damage mitigation mode, but I'm also going to attack because a down penalty would be really nice. So I actually do get the down penalty again on my priority target, which helps a ton if I can get out of this dome without taking damage. So, you know, locking up the assault and stuff like that is a really good thing to do. They end up getting Hank back up. I know I can't really win the game with the health that I have unless I all in, and I won't have a follow-up there. So I actually get some lucky armor that'll stop me from getting any chip damage that they poke at me as I'm escaping. But all in all, that was a really good dome for me. I don't take any health damage, and I got 1 more down penalty. So I'm evening up the game a little bit, but I think I'm still behind. The health on Wraith is so critical. Like, more than any other monster, taking any health damage on Wraith is a really big deal, because it forces you to have to all in at some point. And if you fail that, you have no backup plan. Like, you have to win the game. So I do something a little bit unorthodox, because I really want to like get back into this game. So I decide to go on them as soon as I get up to like 3/4 armor, and I know that they're wasting their jetpack boost to try to get near me, and that they don't have a dome off cooldown. I wasn't evolve ready, so I did something that I was going to try to get a strike on Trapper really quickly, and Hank shows up, ends up getting the shield, but I end up killing Hank. So you're going to see this game get a little bit crazier from here on out. They missed the dome here. I want this CDR, and I know that they have Hank dead, which makes their team a lot more squishy than it used to be. Hank is like a backbone in Val Hank comps. Although Val by herself is a lot better than she used to be, without Hank she's still kind of weak. So I fight again. I'm going to play hyper aggressive for these next couple of fights, trying to get down penalties and get myself back into this game, because I feel like this is my chance. with them following too closely when one of their guys is down. But I think I end up getting this. Or I end up getting Val. One of the two. I know I try putting damage down on multiple people because Val has a hard time healing 2 people at once. The only thing she has is her heal burst that she just used. Now I'm pretty sure... Oh yeah, they used their dome just a second ago, which makes this safe. I was wondering why I was staying so long, but I remember. They had just used their dome, so I know it's on cooldown. I get 1 more strike. Now I would say that the game's a bit more even. 2 strikes on Hank, 1 strike on Val, both my priority targets. I'm in a much better spot than I used to be. It's not a 1 game by any stretch. I might be slightly behind, but it's winnable at this point. That was actually kind of weird. I didn't teleport back for some reason. Maybe I got hit on the rock or something like that. So Hank's dropping right now, or did drop a second ago. I'm not sure. I think, if I remember correctly, I went for an evolve back here. Yeah, right here, next to this. I don't remember how this actually turned out. Because this is risky, for sure. Mainly because I didn't want to take any more health damage, but if they get a dome right here, which I think they did, yeah, and I don't have any chance of eating this. Actually, never mind. I used my decoy, so that's one of those utility things that you get from decoy. I launch that out and then I'm able to eat the corpse, which helps me immensely through this dome, having a little bit of armor. So I'm kind of freaking out right here because this could be game ending again. Another really good dome by Griffin, which it does help with his change. I wasn't even thinking about that in game. I just remembered it now. The fact that they are able to see me when I'm evolving with Griffin now. So I think I get another little bit of armor here. The fact that they're letting me eat at all inside of this dome is super helpful. But again, damage mitigation until I get armor back up, definitely the priority. So I'm trying to knock the assault around, make it so that he can't use lightning gun on me. They're doing a really good job spreading out and forcing me to go one direction, either into the assault or into the other 3 hunters. Because I can't really commit unless I'm ready to all in and have this game be over one way or the other. And I don't really want to do that without any armor. So again, I did a pretty good job not taking that much damage inside of that dome. This Armadon is crucial, by the way. So right here, I'm looking at that Armadon, and I see that it's a buff. So I see that buff is there, and I don't want them to get it, but there's not a ton that I can do to stop them. I'm thinking about taking it right now, actually, and then I see them coming up on it. So I kind of want to lead them away from it, or take a fight that just distracts them from the fact that there's a buff here. Because I know that this buff could be game-changing for either of us. So I think I killed support there, which is really good for me. Val's doing a pretty good job evading me. If I hit that abduct, Val dies 100%. What I don't want right now is for them to dome me there and me not be able to down Val. So I wasted a lot of my cooldowns right there. My buff's expiring. I was half armor. If I took a dome, it could have been game over. You know, I have a minute left while Hank is dead. If they follow me too closely, I can turn back again and deal critical damage to them. So I'm kind of looking right now to see, and of course I notice that someone's chasing me right after I launch the abduct at a monster instead of the person. I was going to abduct someone off of the cliff, but I thought that they went back to relay, because that's the smart thing to do right here. But this team does play pretty aggressively. which is one of the reasons why I kept turning back in the mid-game there. And try for strikes. So I think I try for a long range abduction here. Or like I do a little bit of damage to the relay, because I think it could come down to the relay. Like, this feels like one of those games that's going to be difficult. And I think I also did it to keep the clock paused, also. Because we're at the 2-minute mark right now. But you can keep it paused by having the hunters deal damage to you, you deal damage to the hunters, or you deal damage to the relay. So you notice, oh, now I completely remember that that relay. So I remember telling you guys about this Armadon. I actually did that relay to pull them all towards the relay, or I did damage to the relay, pull them all towards the relay so that I could take this buff. So I go ahead and take this, and I know this is like super good for this last fight, or at least I think it's going to be the last fight. My plan right here is to all in until I either win the game or it's over. And you'll notice that there's still 10 minutes left on this video, give or take, so it doesn't quite go my plan, but we'll see how it goes here. So I'm trying to see where they're set up. I noticed that Markov's here and I don't smell anyone else in like 60-meter range, so I decided to, why not? Like I said at the very start of this, if you see someone doing something stupid, capitalize on it. Don't just focus on the priority target. So I can force out a shield here for free before the fight even starts, and that opens up Markov as a possible target during this fight, or at least during the beginning of this fight. So I actually take a ton of damage there. I think the orbital must have landed a couple shots on me, because that much damage while having the buff is something huge. It might have been a mine also. Alright, so Markov did get his... I remember this part. I see that I took another mine shot, and I try to get out, and they dome me. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I lost. Like, this is game. I know that Markov just used his shield again, so I end up getting the down penalty on him, which is really, really important because that's their damage, right? So I noticed that Val's down, again, overextending. They really shouldn't have went for Markov right there. She should have stayed with her med gun. I think they do get Markov back up, but they trade Val for it. And then I noticed that Hank is low, no medic, so Hank's gonna die. Remember where he died, because I'm gonna decoy and then head back to his body and gain some armor inside of this dome. So I turned this dome, game-ending dome, from really, really bad to not so bad. And actually, like, at this point, this is a winnable fight for sure. With them not having Hank and having so many strikes, any armor here is really good for me. They end up getting Trapper back up with the med gun. I don't know what happened with that abduction. I must have canceled it somehow. But I have now 2 strikes on everyone except for Markov. I think that body, like, fell through the earth or something. I was going to eat that body for a little bit of armor and go right back in and fight. And I thought I was going to go, like, I was contemplating right there going and getting more armor or staying and fighting, because there's only 2 guys left. I want to end the game, but I also don't want to take a ton of damage. So I kill him, and Markov has run away somewhere. And I'm, like, kind of trying to look for him, but I don't see him. So I only have a little bit of armor here, but I need to try to end this game. The problem is there's only 35 seconds left on the dropship, and it's Markov, so he's got a shield. So I, again, feel like this relay could be really important. Just trying to deal any damage that I can to this. Because in these really long games, that's like all you can do. And also keeping the clock paused is super important also. I've got 1 minute left. That basically gives me enough time to armor up one more time. To pull or to grab a little bit of armor and then go right back in on the fight is usually the better option, because as they're dealing damage, If I landed that, that probably would have been game. Actually, no, because the dropship is hitting right now. So the goal here right now is to down and probably kill Markov before the rest of them are able to land. But he's got a shield, which helps quite a bit. And I knew that that mine was about to activate, so I couldn't, like, go immediately, or I might have taken that damage. I had to wait for it to activate and use an ability to go through it. And their team drops just in time to save Markov. And I have to get out of here, or else if I get domed, again, could be really bad. And I think they do actually, yeah, they do dome me, but I find a Mammoth Bird that I'm able to get a little bit of armor. And with them all having 2 strikes, they're going to melt pretty quickly as soon as I start hitting them with abilities. So I know I have Hank there. I saw his jetpack for a minute. They did a ton of damage to me. I think that orbital hit me as well. Again. So I'm now taking health damage. So at this point I think I lost the game again. I've thought I've won and thought I've lost multiple times in this game. I would have loved to kill Trapper there. And I'm still trying to kill Trapper to get out of this dome, but I can't. I'm just taking way too much damage. I'm down to 1 bar of health. I know I can't kill them all in 1 bar, so I have to try to get out of this dome without taking any more damage. So there goes the dome down. Trying to put objects between me and the hunters. Take a little bit more chip damage. And I'm tranked with no stamina, which is super annoying. Wraith's stamina traversal is one of the shortest in the game. Even though it looks like you're going really quick, you're not actually covering much ground. So when you're tranked, since she relies on movement so much, like walking, it's super punishing. I'm looking for food right now, and I remember even like yelling like, "Where's all the food?" And then I like find this, and I'm like, "Oh my god, it's a Reaver." But then I find a couple more over here, and I was actually pretty surprised that they were following me, but I do only have 1 bar, so I'm trying everything. I was trying to abduct something here and ended up killing it, but not actually dragging it back. But again, another stupid decision by them is to have Griffin on 2 strikes go into a cave with a Wraith. So there's no dome, which is definitely helpful. But any little bit of damage right now could kill me, so I need to get out. So half a bar of health. I think Markov still only has 1 strike, but everybody else has 2. It is definitely still winnable at full armor, but the time's ticking down, or it will be in a second. So I have basically 1 more chance to do this. Yeah, their team made some mistakes, for sure. I mean, I made some as well. But if a monster is stage 3, this was a weird dome. They like clipped me inside of the dome, but I was able to walk out of it. And I was even like, I was thinking about running, and I was like, wait a minute, I have to go back and fight them because I need to pause the time. And that's Griffin, obviously. He just dropped on the dropship. And then I noticed that he's alone again inside of the cave with a Wraith. So Griffin played super aggressively this whole game. And he ends up dying really, really quickly. And I'm able to pause the timer again because of that. If I didn't pause the timer there, it's possible I wouldn't have even been able to make it back to this fight. So I'm just trying to get closer so that I can land my Warp Blast a little bit quicker. Give them less time to react. I actually took a mine there. That's what that damage was. So, I mean, at this point, like, I'm physically very stressed and I'm, like, making a lot of, like, mechanical mistakes that I shouldn't be. Like, taking mines and stuff like that. Because this has been a very long game. and one of the most intense that I've ever played. Alright, so there goes support. I have a minute to finish off the last two with full armor. I can't believe I haven't elited Wraith yet. That's actually pretty crazy. Played like 500 hours of this game. It's because for the longest time I didn't use Decoy and Supernova, so I was just like stuck there at like rank 2 or whatever. So Markov ran again, so I'm going right back on this relay. I don't know exactly what health it is, because randomly sometimes it bugs out, but I see Markov is doing the same thing. We only have 26 minutes, so I'm like, oh my god, he's going to shield, he's going to do the same thing before, and then I am able to catch him in this, and just barely finish him off before they drop. But I end up winning this game completely. I don't know, it was lucky that they made some mistakes there, but it was a really good game. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.